if I saw another day, all we do is scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, when you go away, it won't be as simple for you.
Oh man. Manchester City 6, United 3. Don't ask me how. We'll probably get onto that a bit regarding Martial. It was a beatdown. I don't really think there's anything else really to say. Really, it was a beatdown. Everyone can see can hear it's RDS here, man. Like, share, subscribe. Do what you want. It was a beatdown. It was a massacre. United were completely outplayed from start to finish. It's probably one of the most it continues a trend of one-sided derbies. Like, I don't know whether it was the composure or the occasion. It reminded me of last season under Ollie and under Ragnick, when at Old Trafford, beat down, they controlled it, and it was it 3-0, I think, but they controlled the game so much that it felt like it was more, and they should have scored more. And obviously at the Etihad, they slapped us, man. And with Rangnick, and you're thinking, okay, no Maguire, Martial back, and so on. And I'm looking at this game. Okay, I mean, the first things first. The first thing first I'll say, by the way, guys, if you want to come on, the link is in the descriptions. If anyone wants to come on, then by all means. But the first thing I'll say is, certainly for the first 45 minutes, the front six were absolutely garbage. I know people are going to blame the defenders, why aren't the defenders built on the ball, etc. But the reality is, we literally played like we had no midfielder, no attack for 45 minutes of that game. The passing, we couldn't hold on to the ball. We couldn't make any simple trip. And the thing is, these types of things, we've seen this type of stuff in United games proper. But the thing is that before, they weren't necessarily punished for them. That's the difference. They weren't actually punished for them when it happened. With City, finally, United are basically punished. Finally, United are punished for the sloppiness, the ball control, all these things that we've seen, that we saw in the last how many seasons under Ollie, under Ragnar. This sloppiness, this ball, lack of ball attention, not being able to pass quicker, all these different sort of things, punished. Any sort of mistake, punished. You could see from the beginning of the game, especially when the start of the yellow. As soon as Dallo got carded, I was like, right, okay, these guys are messing around. They're pressing us. That's causing us all. They're not going to allow us. They're not even going to allow us to sit deep or whatever. And I'll talk about Nine Hags. I'm calling him Nine Hag for a while because there's stuff that I saw in this Nine Hag affair that has me a little bit worried about him as a manager for Manchester United going forward. Now, I'm not Nine Hag out or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but there is a part of me that is a little bit worried for what's going ahead. And not just a little bit worried, but very worried. Very, 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 very worried. Our front six has played the worst that I've seen ever. I mean, Sancho, at this point, Sancho has to be under review or potentially bench. I don't know if we have anybody else, but like even when he's come clutch with some of the goals he's had this season, he's just drifted. He's barely been involved. Like the guy, like I barely notice when Sancho is in these games. Barely. Like I don't notice when Sancho's in these games. Like he just doesn't exist. He literally does not exist in these games. I don't know where Sancho is, man. Rashford was also bad, also giving away the game. And sometimes you're like, are you gonna press? Are you gonna drop deep? What are you gonna do? Balasia gets that yellow card because Rashford, what does he do? Has the ball, loses the ball sloppily. Malacia is now in trouble, and then he basically pulls back to get the yellow card. And then it's like, oh no, our two fullbacks are on yellow cards, so they're basically immobilized because they're like, right, okay, we can't bomb forward, we can't really talk. We need to be careful. We're both on yellow cards, and it's only been 50 minutes played. Wow. And you're thinking going into this game, okay, they don't have the starting centre backs, they don't have Rodri. You know, we've got a chance. Nah. Because these guys have Erling Haaland, who's a cheat code. Erling, I mean, I didn't even know. I actually looked back. I was like, oh wow. So United, these bum players actually allowed Phil Foden and Haaland to score a free piece against them. They allowed Phil Foden and Erling Haaland to score a free piece. Foden is bad enough, but to allow Foden and Haaland to get a free piece, really? It just, and Anthony, spent 80 million on the guy still raw to the Premier League, man, and he left Dallo exposed on that side. Like he needs help. He didn't, and it was clear. After about 50 minutes. I was like, City are exposed on the right hand side. We need to do something about it. Ten Hag is like, yeah, nah, whatever. We need to do something about that right hand side because they're going down that side. Dallo is in trouble. We need to do something ASAP. Didn't do anything. We concede. And then after the first goal, it's literally just like, and that first goal came after about, I think it must have only been like about less than 10 minutes, maybe 6 minutes. And after that, it was just game over. It was literally game over. They tore us. I've got the thing. They tore us apart. 8 minutes. That was it. Foden scored it. Yes. Absolutely tore us apart. The only positive thing United did in this game was the only two positives I can take from this game were Anthony's brilliant goal and Anthony Martial. I was very, very surprised. Like, I don't really know what Nine Hag was trying to do in this game, whether he was trying to counterattack and dig deep, because we were trying to go toe to toe with him at times, and it was like, that's not going to work. So what was the tactic exactly? Because if we're going to go toe to toe, it wasn't going to work, especially if we're going to play McTominay and Eriksen in that midfield. If you're going to go counter-attacking, fine. But for me, you needed to bring in Martial to help with that, and you need to bring in a Fred to give you that dynamism, that energy. Fred should have, Casemiro, Fred, Casemiro, Eriksen, whatever. Some dynamism in that midfield to cause some problems. Not McTominay. Getting into the midfield. Don Smoke, I'll see you in the back. I'll bring in a second. McTominay was garbage today. Okay, like many times City just bypassed our midfield. McTominay was trash. Didn't notice him at all. Did absolutely nothing. They just kept on. At times I was like, why the hell is this guy jogging back? Run, sprint, for goodness sake, sprint. My goodness, do something, man. Eriksen also poor, which surprised me. But I mean, at the end of the day, the dude is only 30 years old. Dude is 30. He's playing in the hard midfield. He's losing the ball. I don't think he made a single good pass today. Yes, he's been on best percent. I think he deserves to start, but my goodness, he was bad. Bruno has been garbage for ages now. Okay, this man is garbage. Bruno is garbage. Like I think that the painful thing is that we literally had Casemiro and Fred on the bench on the bench. And I'm not saying they're perfect, but I genuinely believe they would have done a better job in this game, at the very least, to give some tenacity in this game. Fred and Casemiro would give some tenacity in that midfield that you need sometimes, than trying to out technique a midfield that has Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, and De Bruyne in it. That was never going to work. We were never going to control the midfield in this game. So our front six from this game was garbage. You know, our defense didn't cover themselves in glory, but I don't blame the defense too much because I don't know what they could have done. They were harassing our box. But I mean, to be 4-0 down at halftime away at Derby is at certain periods you're like, okay, we might be able to go to the first. I thought, okay, we might be able to go to the first half 1-0, it's okay. But no, they added three. They added three goals in, um, 3 goals in before that was out, and it's like that's game over. 4-0, it's game over. Then he makes a change. I don't know if Malacia is injured, but when I saw that, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me, right? You got to be kidding me! Like you made 4 changes, so you made one change at the beginning of the start, and you brought on Malacia. Unless Malacia is injured, you know, I don't know. For those who saying that Maguire would improve things, just get lost, man. Get lost. Like Varane injured, so I expected such. Varane is obviously injured. I expected he was going to be injured at some point again. Lindelof comes in. Lindelof is worse. He's not played, fair enough. And Maguire's obviously injured, but Lindelof isn't great. And you've got Lindelof and Martinez now trying to deal with freaking Haaland. It's not going to work. And Erling Haaland, man, the guy is a tree trunk. Haaland and his movement destroyed Manchester United. And this is the key thing I want to say is because a lot of people say, oh, Haaland doesn't look good on the eye test, Haaland doesn't look good, Haaland looks good, blah, blah, blah. But the key thing here is that what people understand, especially United fans who seem to still persist with the fact that Rashford and Martial are good players. Although, shout to Anthony Martial. He can hold his head up high, 2 goals afterwards. So fair play to Anthony Martial. I respect the dude. But Haaland's work rate off the ball, pressing the ball, getting into the positions. This guy is an intelligent striker, an intelligent finisher. That second goal he scored was disgusting. I was like, man, that piece, I think it was Malacia, I think he got past. I think that second goal he scored was disgusting. Was absolutely disgusting, man. So this guy is an intelligent striker, man. And I think that, I mean, obviously anything can happen. He can get injured. Various things can happen. But if City play like they're doing now, I don't see any reason why. And I don't mean this in a reverse jinx way, but I generally don't see why this City team can't win the treble or quadruple easily. I generally don't see how they or why. So I've got I've got a nosebleed, man. That's perfect. Everything is just going wrong for me today. Everything just has just been going wrong. Let me get. Well, I sort out this nosebleed. Let me get these guys in to have their say, man. But I sort out this freaking nosebleed, man. Jeez. Let me get these guys. Don, Eddie, man. Guys, what are your thoughts on this on this game, man? Don, you speak first, man. Congratulations, man. You guys smoked us. It was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed the way the game ended. Like, as soon as Gundogan came off, we gave you guys unnecessary hope, right?
Yeah, but
And
this was after you guys put on your sixth formers on, man.
yeah, you're 6-1, and then Pep removed off Gundogan, and you could see the difference without Gundogan and De Bruyne in midfield. You guys
Mm.
had more room to maneuver. Hence, I'm saying the scoreline will flatter you guys.
Yeah, of course, but
Yeah,
of course, yeah. There's
right.
no, yeah. Go on.
because this wasn't a 6-3 game. There is no way
No.
this was a
This
6-3
was
game.
this should have been a 10-1 game, I think.
10-2, yeah. So, but I'm not I'm not too surprised. Like I was telling you guys, the butcher, playing Haaland at Dortmund and playing Haaland at City is not the same thing, right? Please, next time, never use such stupid comparisons, right? When you play for City, you become a better player by default because you're gonna have better players around you, right? And please don't ever say Champions League, Varane. I told you, like next to Ramos to hold his hand, yes, you could say that. But Ramos, but he's not there anymore. You guys, and I told you, you haven't really faced a quality attack to be saying no, we in good form. You weren't in good form. You were just
Nah,
scraping
come on,
games.
man. We beat Arsenal, man. You're trying to challenge you guys for your title, man. Come
But
on.
don't talk about Arsenal. Those are our little bros, right? Ask Ateta will tell you the master is still Pep. And I told you Ten Hag is Pep's disciple. And today it showed you that at the end of the day, the teacher is still the teacher, right? If you take his philosophy, there's things that he didn't teach you. And you saw it, right? At the end of the day, I'm not too surprised, right? I was predicting 4-1, right? But I saw Haaland scoring. I just didn't see Foden scoring a hat trick. At the end of the day, the thing is, United still have a lot to do, right? And at times when you go on some funny runs, it peppers over the cracks. And I've been saying it. You'll have been peppering over the crack for the past few games. But this is a reality check. This game showed you where you really are, and the gap is still big. You are nowhere near us. Your guys' objective is trying to scrape top four away from Europa, and that should be the focus of the rest of the season. Forget all these pipe dreams that you may have, or Ten Hag, the next ball manager. No, no, no. Your guys are still the same bums of of Manchester you'll have been for the past 10 years. And today we reminded you of that. Whenever and I told Arias, whenever it matters in the derby, we beat you. Most of the time when you'll win is when when we've won the league or we're about to win the league and we don't have but when it matters, we always set the record straight. And today was just a reminder of that.
Yo, can I comment?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's nothing. So before you go on, let me just quickly just read it. So I will be on camera in a second. I just need to just get this nosebleed out. But Raymore says we were absolutely spanked. Bad day in the office. Must not let this affect us. Just move on. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't think what I would say before I go into this, I don't think that this loss means that United are going to now lose to all those other different teams and stuff like that. I don't think that's the case at all. And I actually think that Ten Hag was actually very, or Nine Hag, as I'm going to call him now. It was actually very, very naive going into this game and thinking that he could play the same squad and play the same way that he played against Arsenal, Liverpool, and expect the same result. I think that was very, very. I think that surprised me because I was kind of like, okay, if you're gonna, if you're going to go down the full-blown counter-attacking route, okay, then you should probably not have a midfield of Eriksen, McTominay, and Bruno, who are all slow and who don't have tenacity. You should probably play. Don Smoke says he'll be back. You should probably play Fred and maybe Casemiro in that midfield. And at the very least, you need to start Anthony Martial with Rashford. Anti Sancho plus or minus here or there to give you that pacing to do that. If you're going to go down the pure counter-attacking route, but it almost felt like he was caught in two minds. Where like, do I try and go to Toto with City and try and possess my way to the goal, or do I go and counter-attack? It wasn't clear, and I think for me that's on the manager. That's on the manager. The players were garbage. Don't get me wrong. Especially the front six, because a lot of people are going to go at the defense. But quite frankly, the amount of times that we lost possession, like it was almost like City were counter-attacking us at times. Like we'd press, we go on the ball because at 2-0 and 3-0, we went desperate and we threw bodies forward, and they were like, nope, poor pass from Rashford, poor pass from Eriksen, McTominay in no man's land. Let's 1-2 touch. We're in United's box. It's a goal, and that was it. McLovin says that was a close game. Yeah, I see that Manchester United. That picture of Sir Alex Ferguson, man, was depressing, man. Literally, that 4-0 and you scored.
Piss, man.
Depressing.
Right.
It was just.
We don't need sarcasm right now, man. Fuck that.
It was. Manchester City is following me on Twitch. 6-3, man. I can't hate because Haaland was an animal. Haaland was
Wait,
actually
hold on though. So he got a hat trick, yeah, and Foden got a hat trick.
Foden got a hat trick as well. Yeah, 2 hat tricks.
Nah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
taking a piss.
yeah.
That's an absolute
You know,
piss take, man.
that was yeah,
No
exactly,
respect.
exactly. Foden and Erling Haaland. Haaland now has, I think, is the only Premier League player to have scored 3 back-to-back hat tricks at home.
Nah.
Like I don't think any other Premier League player has scored 3 back-to-back. None has.
You know what? Yeah, that brings me to what people like Faz. You know, Faz has been calling Haaland. Been calling him like Terminator. Like he's working for Skynet. This guy is coming up with some robotic efficiency, man. I'm not liking this, man. Is this guy human? We need
He's
to do
breaking.
tests.
People saying he's going to break. I believe he will break Salah's record this season. He will. This I think that's what now he's got. This was the City's 8th game, wasn't it? So that must mean he's got 14. He's got 14 goals, I think, including his hat trick in 8 games.
It's madness. I've nothing to say on Haaland, man. It's like they're going to a next level. And like you were saying about like they could win trebles and stuff, this guy's the gateway. And I'm not liking this, man. It's a scary time, bro.
It's a scary time because this, I mean, Bolchester Derby local lads said, hold that, hat trick come with the flex. City is the best team in the world. Yeah, let's relax on that because it always seems to happen. We'll see.
You know what I mean? They need to be the best team in Europe before they can even say that.
Yeah,
as well.
in the world. We'll see because there are some good. You know, PSG are also saying what's up. Real Madrid, you can obviously never discount Real Madrid. And well, those are probably only 3 really you could say that could do anything to this Manchester City team. You know, it is what it is. Maybe Bayern if they get their act together. Noah Nato says, "Big up, Red bro. Rashford was poor, man. Rashford's been washed for a while, man.
Yeah.
But sorry,
what happened to his attitude in that game? Because he wasn't even pressing from the front. Like he was walking like he was Trent Alexander-Arnold after a bit, like not interested. What was up with Rashford, man?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Eddie, because quite frankly, like as I said at the start, the front 6, all the front 6 were garbage. I did feel bad for our defense in the first 4 minutes because it was almost like we created chances. There were times, especially after 1-0, where we were pressing them. City made a few mistakes. Akanji kicked the ball away. You know, Edison, they did all those things, and yet we couldn't capitalize on that, and we were just making poor passes. Malacia got that yellow card because Rashford made a poor pass, didn't track back, and he ended up getting a yellow card. You know, so I don't really, but at the same time, I blame Ten Hag because at the end of the day, this guy thought he would play the same team, and get away with it. Like Rashford, I've said from time, Marcus Rashford is not a number 9. He's not. Martial is even a better
thing, though. Let me 1 second though. He's been doing good up front. Like he's been getting some assists and goals recently. That's the thing. I just think he turned off in this game, man.
All he did, bro. Even if you look back at those games, he got the goals, the 2 goals against Arsenal because Arsenal basically got too excited. They pressed up a high line. Eriksen made a split pass that knocked their defense, and he scored on a counter, whatever. Fine, okay, cool. But if we're talking about him actually having to work, I'm not talking about when he scores a pass counter goal. I mean, when he's having to work. I mean, when he's having to be called on to lead the press, when he's having to be called on to maintain his composure, when he's having to bring up those types of things. He's not done any of those things at the beginning of the season at all. Like, if anything, he's been better coming on from the left. So I said in my preview, I was like, if Martial's fit, Rashford on the left, Martial 9, fine, do that. You can't have, in this type of game, you can't have Marcus Rashford being, and that's tied to the fact that likes of Sancho is on forward watch because he's done nothing. And Anthony, I love the dude's passion, but he's still new to the Premier League. And he left Dalot very much exposed today on that right-hand side. They were killing us down that right-hand side, and Dalot couldn't cope. So if your fullback can't cope, so attacking play, you need to come in and help and support. And he didn't do that.
But you know what? Yeah, I got to disagree a little bit on that one because we had loads of like McTominay was dropping in to help the defense as well. So it's like even when we had players dropping in, we were still bad.
Yeah, but
even if Anthony was to drop in, I don't think it would make a difference.
But
my big gripe with Anthony is that I'm not seeing enough individual brilliance yet. Already, I mean, you can say, okay, I'm not being patient enough, but really, when he's 1-on-1 with players, he's turning around and he's passing the ball back. This is similar to Sancho, and we've given Sancho a season now, and he's still doing the same thing. It seems to be like players are allergic to dribbling at Man United. That for me, you know how people say the best form of defense is attack. It's like if players can be able to dribble and actually keep the ball away from our defense, that would help as well. But no one seems to be able to do that. Martial is probably the best dribbler.
Yeah, he's the best dribbler. He's the only one who can dribble, but he gets injured a lot. That's the only thing.
Yeah, but I do hear what you're saying. But still, I just think that this team, I don't get what the attitude was. Like, we can put tactics to the back. Where was the energy? It's like you said, okay, this it seemed like Ten Hag was caught in two minds of what to do. But normally when it happens, everything cancels out. I don't get why this manager, who's got the momentum of these 4 wins, has got into this game, and at least you don't get the energy. There was no energy. How much space were we giving them in there? And we made Grealish look like he was 100 million today.
Yeah, exactly. That was painful. We actually made Grealish look ridiculously good. Yes, De Bruyne and stuff like Goodwin showed up, but we made Grealish look fantastic today. And in answer to the question about how, it's like I told you the thing. For me, Ten Hag got his tactics and selection wrong. If you can't play a midfield of Bruno, Eriksen, and McTominay and expect to have that's a midfield where you're like, to be honest, I think Bruno should be dropped full stop anyway. I'm tired of that guy. The guy's actually starting to bug me now because of how bad he's been. But
how is he going to be dropped when he's captain? This is what could be a big indictment on Ten Hag. He's the captain now, so it's less likely that he's going to go anywhere.
Then fine, and play him, and then you get sacked, bro. You know what I mean? Like you can't pick captain or something like that, didn't you? You pick players based on the players that can play best in your position. You said Donny van der Beek, for example, is not good enough. I'm not saying Van der Beek, for example, is great, but I've not seen anything from Bruno since January where he's done anything that's markedly better than Donny van der Beek, to be honest, when I've seen Van der Beek play. And we're talking about tenacity in the midfield. That's what you need. Like Eriksen, there was one goal, I think, when I think it was the 5th goal or the 4th goal, and literally Haaland just bulldozed his way, and it was like, and I was like to Eriksen was close. I was like, Eriksen, you just got to foul the dude, foul him, get the yellow card, foul him. That's it, foul him.
See, just 1 second, bro. No. This is why I don't get why Eriksen is in the holding position, because we know him, through his Premier League legacy. He's played that inside right channel for Spurs, and he's been cooking in the past from there. This is like a kind of a reinvention of Eriksen. He's okay, fair enough. He's done some good stuff in some previous games, but we've got to look at it. We've got to have an inquest here. Did we really beat a good Liverpool team? I don't think they were good. Their midfield was horrible. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, okay, that was a good game, but we counter-attacked a lot. Arsenal were bad in terms of overloading our box and actually, getting some proper products from their possession. This was just a game where everything was exposed. I can't believe how bad the game was, because it just showed how there's so many gaps in midfield. Because I've seen that before when we were winning. There's always been gaps in between, like Eriksen and McTominay.
Yeah, of course. They can't play. They both can't play. Essentially, what you're doing is you're playing Eriksen. You can't play Eriksen as a holding midfielder. So essentially, you're playing Eriksen and McTominay, or McTominay's alone. When you have Casemiro on the field, if you play Casemiro and McTominay, that's what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to play Casemiro and McTominay together, and then you can play one of Eriksen or Bruno or whatever into that. Or ideally, you play Casemiro, Fred, and Eriksen, or if you want to bring on bring on four, you can four-man diamond midfield or whatever. But Casemiro, Fred, and Eriksen is an alternative. Or at worst, McTominay and Casemiro. You can't play Casemiro you can't play McTominay and Eriksen together in two holding midfield and expect you to have pace and energy. So none of those guys were able to, they were just walking for midfield. They were not able to get a hold of the game at all for the simple reason that they're not those type of players. Fred, we've known from time Fred is a more physical and pace player than McTominay is. We know from time that Casemiro is in a completely different league when it comes to than McTominay is. And that Eriksen is not. We've known that. So that selection, that mindset comes on the manager. That comes on Ten Hag. I appreciate the players. And to make things worse, sorry, let me just look. I don't know whether Malacia is injured, but you're telling me that after the first half came, you're like, out of all the starting 11, you're like, you know what? I know it was 4-0, and you wanted to, I don't know, save face. I don't know to be, but even then, it was like, right. So even if you just want to just defend better, are you honestly telling me that the best substitution to make at half time was to take Malacia off and put Luke Shaw on, who, by the way, was caught being offside. Was played. Was it Foden onside for the 5th goal? So I don't want anyone here telling me, if Luke Shaw was back in the team and blah 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 blah. Malacia had a difficult game today because he was being exposed by his front people. So again on the coach. I'm not saying we need to get into the game, but at the very least, you should have changed it radically. By putting Luke Shaw on the Malacia, all you told me was like, right, I don't trust. I want to keep Malacia out of the firing line. I don't trust young players. I don't know.
I was going to say he was booked as well, but then again,
Dalot was booked, and if anything, Dalot was getting more cooked on his side. So it makes sense and the only reason why Malacia was getting booked was because Rashford played that poor pass. Otherwise, Malacia at least was somewhat being sensible. Dalot was getting cooked on that side. So let me just quickly read this comments and I'll get back in. I'll be the first to say that Ten Hag should have started CR7. No. I don't know why CR7 didn't come out. I mean, I don't think you could have played CR7 in this game, but I do think that
sorry, but with that service from Bruno, CR7 is nothing in this game.
No, exactly.
The wingers couldn't get on the ball. They can't dribble. They were getting doubled up on. This is what I don't get yet. Those wingers, Anthony and Sancho, were getting doubled up upon, even though Man City were able to overlap and put more players up front in their attack. They were doing everything better than Man United. I remember you were just saying Man United was supposed to be counter-attacking, yet they were getting counter-attacked when they went forward. Everything went wrong. And 6-3 is flattering, like what Don Smoke was saying. It is flattering. We should have no goals in that game. No. Anthony's goal was out of the heavens. That was the only good thing he did. It was an amazing goal. And that brings me to one of my thoughts that I've had for ages. Goals should mean points, because at least we would have 3 points from this game. That was the case. But anyway, that's for another conversation. But I've just got to say, I want to know, and I think this team should come out, in some kind of press conference. Like, I don't know how you can fit everyone in the press conference. Everyone should come out and say why the energy was down. Because you know what I was thinking? I was thinking maybe some of these players were knackered because they played international. But then I was thinking, what am I doing? Because Man City's guys were on international too. There's excuse. There's no excuse for why the energy was in the bin. No pressing, no intercepting, no counter pressing. There was nothing. This was worse than the Ole team from last season. This was worse than the Ralph team from last season. For me, I just don't get. I just don't get this game. I'm so confused, and I would say, Red Devil, a big thing is that Ralph was not allowed to communicate with Ten Hag, because can you imagine their discussion, the kind of things they could be talking about? Like Ralph told him, okay, in the Man City game, this happened, that happened. Because I doubt that Ten Hag is watching all the tapes from last season and is researching everything. Because remember what he said in press conferences. He said, "Oh, last season was last season. This is about us making a new start." Remember the baptism of fire against Brighton, baptism of fire against Brentford. All of these things happening because he's having to learn by himself instead of talking to a Ralph who's been through the mud. This can go all the way back to the Glazers for this kind of result because of the way there was not a nice kind of transition from Ralph to Ten Hag, a complete disconnect, and Ten Hag's having to learn everything by himself now. Nah, this is mad, man. This was a bad game, man. Big setback, you know, because he's gonna have to try and what do you call it, arrest the defense again. And try and like make everything sturdy. So it's going to be longer before we see Ten Hag possession football again.
And also, you know, we don't know how injured Varane is out because obviously people are saying, I knew obviously Varane at some point was going to get injured. You know, we have you know a lot of injury prone players that we rely on, which I don't think is right because we need players to be here, you know, for at least half a season. We need that. You know, and if Varane is constantly getting injured, if Martial's constantly getting injured, all these people can get injured, then it's just not good. It's not good at all. I mean, let me quickly go to. So Tom says because I'm sorry I'm saying this, but some players need to be benched for some matches in the Premier League. They'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, for me, I kind of in a part way the problem is apathy as I've stopped caring because I've kind of realized that there's clearly some stuff going on behind the scenes whereby certain players are just giving preference because they have contracts. You know, they are. You know, so after this game, for me, you'd have to bench McTominay and Eriksen at least. You know, maybe bring in Eriksen as a sub. You know, and you probably have to bench Sancho and Rashford for me. You know, but those things aren't going to happen. So, you know, you just go. It is what it is. We need Casemiro in and Rashford in. Of course, he's not a striker, but that's where this. And this is what I'm saying. But that's on the manager, though, isn't it?
Well, yes. Who are you putting in for those people, though? This is the thing. The squad's thin. It's not good.
I'll put in. No, the people. It's people. It's starting versus finishing. So we had players on the bench at the beginning of this game that, in my opinion, should have started. Martial, for example, should have started in number 9 position, not Rashford on the there doing what. Right. You know, Casemiro should have been either in place of Bruno or Eriksen or whatever. But if you're going to play against you need to at least play 2 proper holding midfielders. There's a reason why McFred kind of sort of worked on the Ollie, you know, because Fred at least had that tenacity to kind of keep the midfield mobile. I'm not saying they were perfect; in fact they were garbage. But Fred's tenacity and movement ability, sometimes to go forward, sometimes to play a quick pass, was actually very useful. But now that Fred's out of the picture because he seems to be, you know, 4th or 5th choice midfielder, you're now relying on 2 slow, you know, European players in McTominay and Eriksen, who can't really track back well, who can't really tackle. They're semi-decent going forward, especially Eriksen. Eriksen's really good, but they can't do any of the defensive stuff. And because they can't do any of the defensive stuff, their defense ends up getting exposed. You know, and that's not even talking about the forwards. Like I said, Sancho, for me, should be dropped. I don't know.
So I was going to ask you putting in for him.
Oh, so I'd put Rashford on the left and Martial on number 9, and I'll play Anthony there. Or you know, if you want to be ambitious, you can try Palestri as well. You know, so that's if you want to be ambitious. But you know, City played their 6 formers against us, and look what happens. There you go. Play Tony or Ronaldo. The brick for did try today. Yeah, they did.
I mean, I gotta say, Varane was at fault for Foden's first goal. There's something happened where you just dropped too deep and you didn't follow any runners. Like if you do that, you just get punished. Like we saw Brazil. Brazil did that against Germany. Remember, was it the 7-1?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
they were doing that all day, just dropping too deep, not following runners, and then the wingers for the other team just cut it back and they just tee off. So I don't know what happened to Varane for that goal. It was at fault for another goal that I remember. but it was not a good game for Varane. I don't think.
No,
Obviously, it's not his fault, isn't it? Like, you know,
no.
it wasn't protected well.
I feel bad for Martinez and Dalinanti. They're only young. They don't deserve this. Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I was like, I hope Martinez is being taken off because he's either being protected, whether from injury or from the scrutiny. Because at the end of the day, like he wasn't the worst player out of those 11 today. Like he tried to do his best, always had, and to try to do his job. But it's difficult to do that when your left back is basically abandoning you. So your left fullback is basically abandoning you. Forward anyway.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for anyone being young in there. We were winning with some of these players before. We had some good form where we a lot of us had chest. A lot of us fans were really bigging up this team. Like, I mean, I wasn't saying we were going to win this game. I was thinking maybe we get a draw at the best, but there was other fans in it. Like we're seeing the YouTube community. There's a lot of fans were saying, "Yo, we could win this." Or this, I had a lot of pride for this game. But I can't believe how bad it is. Like I'm still trying to like just articulate myself because there's no way we should be seeing a recession in the performance in a derby from how good these guys have been recently. I just really want to see like a proper explanation from like Ten Hag or the players. Because like we're getting embarrassed as fans again, man. Like people were like that I know
are clowning us, yeah. I'm getting
like,
clowned by my dad and stuff like that. It's funny, you know. So
bro, I've got Arsenal fans in my family. Yeah, they're top of the league, and they're just texting me like just harassing me, leaving voicemail about how they're going to be in the title race and all that. And then we're showing up 6-3. We can't even compete for one half, man. It's just too embarrassing, man.
Not even, and that's the key word, Eddie. Not even for one. I mean, Haaland was treated as well. This guy's gave vibes exactly. You know, we couldn't even compete. You know, like at least other clubs that played City have competed. Like Crystal Palace competed, even though they lost, I think 2-1 in the end. I think Aston Villa competed, then drew 1-1. Newcastle competed and they drew 3-3. So, you know, that's the key. That's just, like, it's so surprising. It's like, at the very least, try and compete from top to toe. If you're not going to, then, you know, sorry about that. Just crack on. Just crack on. Chainsaw shout to. I don't understand 10 acts on CS and customer interactive. I'm just not good enough for me. Well, I saw CR7's face and I was like, you know, so, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think CR7 would necessarily change his game, but I definitely think Casimir would have.
I don't think CR7 does anything because we know he doesn't have the legs for a derby. What would Ronaldo have really done in this derby where, you know, Man City were just on fire, man, just running everywhere, knowing where the next pass is. They scripted that game. It was like they were playing FIFA with the goals they were getting. It was madness. Yeah, I don't think Ronaldo does anything in that game because he could not keep the ball. What was the possession in there? Was it about 38%? What was it?
But United, it might even be less than that, to be honest. So let me have a quick look at the thing. It kind of equal,
45 in the end. Okay.
I think that's because of the youngsters that came on. As soon as Pep made those 6 formers come on, we had a bit more of the ball, so it kind of changed things a little bit. So
you see, you know what? Yeah, I would say Pep, thank you for having a bit of mercy. You know what I mean? Not trying, because he did that last season when he only won 2-0, where he could have like really put the sword into our hearts. Yeah, but yeah, this is the thing. Like I saw 38% possession before, like during the game. Like, I think it was like first half, something like that. It's like, what? How is Ronaldo going to benefit from that kind of possession? He's not going to do anything, is he? He needs service. So, you know, it wasn't going to happen. Nah, man.
I'm still just fuming, bro. I'm not fuming. I'm just tired now at this point. I'm really, you know, tired. I mean,
you know what, bro? Let me say this before you get into that one as well. I just want to say, we know this is a project for Ten Hag, isn't it? Yeah, and some of these speed bumps are going to happen, but the speed bump shouldn't be this embarrassing for me. In my opinion, this kind of performance was almost erases all of the 4 wins, in my opinion, because, like I said, no energy, no good attitude.
The four wins. The four wins were supposed to erase. The four wins were supposed to erase Brentford. That was the purpose for me. You know, that was the whole thing. So this was supposed to be a going a different direction. You know, so the four wins was like, right, okay, Brentford and Brighton losses at home, and also the massive defeat at Brentford. Okay, we won those 4 games. We've learned our lesson type situation. But this was like, wow, this is like. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think United can get top 4 just based on the currently anyway. It could change. Currently, the quality of teams that are currently running for it are just all not that great. You know, you just have City, and then you basically just have everybody else. Because Liverpool are garbage, Chelsea are overrated, Spurs are garbage, Leicester are garbage, Everton are garbage, West Ham are so-so.
Hey, Everton have got, what is it? Aren't they unbeaten? Like in like 6 games or something? Like mad, like 4 draws, 2 wins. They're actually doing well on the Lampard.
Yeah,
like,
I think they've got the same the park points as Liverpool right now. So,
yeah.
but,
I know
yeah.
Lampard put some respect in his name, like a little bit, you know.
Yeah, no, a little bit, but I mean, like, I think it's like anything. You'll be tested when you face up against like certain opponents. You know, to just gauge where you are. And right now, Manchester United are nowhere near one of the, in terms of how we play, one of the nowhere near top clubs, like at all. Like we're just the only reason I'm saying we could get top 4 is just because a lot of the other, if Spurs and Chelsea, West Ham, Leicester, and I think that's it, everyone. Yeah, actually start, you know, taking things seriously and actually start playing. You know, they can cause us problems. The only thing is, at the end of the day, even though we got spanked, it is at the end of the day, it's only 3 points. And if you look at the table, I
think Man United are 6th or something like that, about 8 points behind the league leader.
So 7 points. We've got a game in hand, obviously, again on City. You know, so if we won the game in hand against Palace, I think it was, you know, we'd only be, you know, we'd be 3rd basically, or we'd be 5 points behind City. You know, so
can you scroll the table up a bit? I can't see it past the comment that you got up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Let me take that comment down. Actually.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Okay. So 9 points off of the 1st place, 8 points behind City, but a game in hand, is it? Yeah. At least we got a game in hand. Eh? That's some confidence.
That's something. Chainsaw does to the point. Although I think Ronaldo 9-1 would be good. Like, he actually would have done create space off the ball, actually, which Sancho doesn't. So I'll be controversial. I will say this: aside from the goal that Sancho scored, I don't really see how effective Sancho is even compared to CR7. Like,
let me say one thing as well. Yeah, even though CR7 can make space sometimes, there's other times where he will just delete space. Like for instance, when he comes deep to play a 1-2 with someone, he will play the ball back to the origin. So it's like a 1-2-1. And then by the time he's done that, a defender has marked Ronaldo. He's come into the space which Ronaldo has tried to tried to make. So it's like ineffective after a bit. If you're doing a 1-2 and it's static, you're giving the opposition a chance to just, you know, consolidate their defense and get into position. So that's what. Ronaldo is not effective for me off the ball. Not enough.
Fair. Ten Hag is too cool without a CV. Relax, come on, relax, Chainsaw. Sancho plays like he's pregnant. You know, Chainsaw. The most important thing that Liverpool need to focus on is beating Arsenal during midweek. I think that's it, isn't it? Let me have a look. When are you guys facing Arsenal? No, next weekend. That's the most important thing you guys need to do. You need to focus on beating Arsenal next weekend. Because even though we got spanked by Manchester City today, somehow we're still ahead of you in the table. I don't know how, I don't know why, but somehow we're still ahead of you in the table, Chainsaw. So focus on spanking Arsenal.
Take that, Chainsaw, man. Like you're the holy grail of your defense is finished. Van Dijk, come on, man. He's receding, man. He's not doing well. Trent can't defend. So worry about your problems there.
Looking at Manchester United games, we've got a good run of fixtures where we should hope to gain our confidence back. You know, Ammonia, on Thursday of Europa League. Let's go, put them to the sword. Everyone gets some goals, feels good against themselves. Everton away. I don't care how good Lampard's been. We should be taking apart this Everton side properly. Ammonia again at home, again, push aside. Newcastle.
I wish we could get rid of them in Europa games, man.
Yeah, I wish we could as well. But Newcastle at home will be tough, I think. So I think we can win it, but it is going to be tough. I can only hope that Saint Maximan is injured, so and Bruno Guimaraes is, but we'll see. But that will be a tough game, but we can win it.
Bro, likewise, remember that goal? Bruno Guimaraes with Almiron. That was 1-2 and then the volley that they scored yesterday. That was mad. That's like some of the potential that Newcastle could be doing.
Oh yeah, exactly, man. I mean, they at least gave City a game and had a plan.
Yeah,
not like our team and our manager. Whatever you say. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you saw the other teams; they had plans, they had things, they had the way they'll play. I don't know if it was going to be a proper block. Then look at what Palace and look what Newcastle did.
Yeah,
but I don't know what Ten Hag wanted to do here, So, but yeah, looking at the games here, okay, aside from Chelsea away, which can never go here and there depending on how Chelsea's form is, before the World Cup, United really, United really should be winning these games. There's no reason. Aside from these
why should we though? Why should we? We're playing counter-attack football, yeah, and we're kind of scraping wins. It's like why? I'm sorry, I'm disillusioned at this point right now.
No, we should be winning those games because Everton aren't a great team. Chelsea haven't also been playing particularly well either. Spurs haven't played particularly well. They're just as counter-attacking as we are. Yeah. West Ham, Villa got trash. Fulham trash. Forest absolutely garbage, although that's after the World Cup, so I won't come to that. But certainly Fulham.
So really, let me just ask you then: what football do you expect us to play? Just stay with counter attack.
No. I expect. I'm hope. So, for example, in our next game against Everton, for example, at home, we shouldn't be counter attacking against Everton. We should have a midfield enough because our midfield, especially if he actually starts Martial and Rashford, with Eriksen, with McTominay and Casemiro, for example, that midfield is better than I understand against City because Gundogan, Silva, and De Bruyne absolutely destroy our midfield. But we shouldn't I have no problem if the midfield that another team has is better than ours, and we can't control and we can't hold on to the game to default to counter attacking. That's why you counter attack, because you basically accept that we're not going to be able to hold on to the game. The other team has, so we're going to have to try something different. So I accept that. But when our team has a much better midfield, a much better defense than the opposing team, which is the case for Everton, there is no reason why we should resort to counter-attacking.
Okay, let me hit you with this then. Let me hit you with the emotional side, because we're talking about what's happening on paper right now. On paper, we're better than Everton, yeah? When we should, like you're saying, we should be able to hold the midfield and dictate the play. We just lost 6-3. We just got battered, yeah, where nothing went right. Okay, 3 goals got scored, but come on, it's some of them are against the run of play.
But nothing. But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That like part of that. Yes, was on the players. A part of that was also on our selection and how we wanted to play.
Right. So you think all of this is going to get sorted in time for that next game? Yeah, where we're just gonna, because the confidence is not going to be there. Like I don't see how it can be after that game. I don't know where they will get all this energy from.
Well, what I think is that we need to get a good win against Ammonia away. We get a good win against Ammonia away, so that will play the starting level. They're a Bombers team. If you get good goals, if you smack them up, so you already got one game where people can at least get their confidence back going into the Everton game. So that's the first thing. The second thing is one is like I don't care. Like I said, Everton are garbage. Everton don't even have a proper.
No, they're not, man. They're unbeaten in the last 6 games, right? And they're getting more confidence. We can't say the garbage.
Let me look at Everton.
Yeah, it's like 4 draws, 2 wins. Yeah, on paper they look okay. Maybe like
Southampton, Everton, okay, scraped against West Ham 1-0, 0-0 against Leeds 1-1, Brentford 1-1, Fleetwood just 1-0, Nottingham Forest 1-1.
I think they're unbeaten this season.
They're unbeaten. No, I think no, they lost against Villa, I think.
Okay,
Chelsea. So they're unbeaten in the sense that they've had two draws and they won their last two matches. Scraped against Southampton, by the way, and West Ham.
Bro. All I'm saying, is that it's hard to just turn on things, right? We've been playing counter-attack for the past 4 or 5 games, right? It's hard to just turn on that football.
I don't think we played counter-attack against. We played, in my opinion, we played counter-attack predominantly against City and Arsenal. Fine.
Yeah.
Against because who we played before? Was it Southampton and
we counter-attacked Southampton. I was watching that, and we counter-attacked Leicester. We definitely did, because they were idiots in that game. Leicester were pressing high, and we caught them in transition.
Yeah.
I remember they were foolish in that game. It's been predominantly counter-attack, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Focus on Europa League and a trophy, IMO. Chainsaw relax. Joke. We are we are both finished, because you might have to finish up and focus on Conference League and Europa at the rate that Liverpool are going. If you guys get spanked by Rangers, you're heading to Europa League as well. So let's keep it a stack. My Potter versus Klopp convo is real uncomfortable for other pool fans. Well, let's
Chelsea saying Potter was better than Klopp.
Well, let's see what happens, because Chelsea and Liverpool have big weeks this week against Rangers and Milan, respectively. And I won't be confident for either one of those two teams. Rangers away and Milan are looking good as well, especially with Leao doing his thing. So I won't be surprised if Chelsea and Liverpool also find themselves in the Europa League sometime soon. But anyway, I've got to head off, guys. But final thoughts, Eddie, on this ultimately this debate. I mean, you say that United can't get through this, So I mean, again, we are only we're only 2 points from fourth. I guess what I'm saying is that you expect our goal of this season, regardless, was to get top 4. That was the goal, right? There was no other goal other than that.
For me, I thought, that would be a goal that you should definitely set. But I thought, when you aim for the stars, you at least land on the moon. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. I thought at least we're going to be seeing more of this Ten Hag football. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking, maybe it should be happening more at this point. But the thing is, I think we're counter-attacking too much. But anyway, my final thoughts is, and it's very hard to articulate because I'm still angry right now, because
I know.
Last season we were watching the same shit. It should not be the same shit that we're watching. The attitude. I keep saying the attitude. The energy is not there, and you can't teach that. You can inspire it, but you can't teach it.
The attitude, that attitude comes from the players, and that's why I think words have to be said about someone like a Marcus Rashford, for example. So, but go on.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Ten Hag has got to be this drill sergeant, man. We saw him get these guys in boot camp after that Brentford debacle. We saw him get the guys in for training. They were doing all kinds of sprints, all kinds of suicides, all the shit you got to do to get your fitness up, man. Make up for the lack of running they were doing. So now he's got to do that again. It's like you can keep doing that, but you're going to burn out soon. This is why it's got to get to a point where, the players, they've really got to, tap into what Ten Hag needs. You can't just keep running. You got to just run, because they'll burn out like they did on the Ole, So I'm just hoping that we'll see some better people picked in the team. Is Van der Beek still injured, by the way? Because we need to see the likes of him come back in. Or just come in.
We'll see what happens, but he's injured. He's injured.
We need all the technical players to come in, because we can't be dealing with Bruno passing the ball away at every opportunity. He's thinking, I've got to get an assist with this pass. He doesn't think about, let's build up here and there, and then eventually get the goal. It's let me get the goal, let me get the ball now, and then I'm going to do some kind of cowboy long ball 50 yards, and then it doesn't go anywhere. It's if we're going to
The
see
chemistry, the chemistry in this team, the only chemistry I saw in the last couple of games was the chemistry was between the defense. That was where the chemistry was. You're like, oh, okay, fine, we've got a back four and a five, including De Gea, that seems to understand each other. But to be fair, the rest of the pitch, okay, yeah, Ericsson, made some really good balls and stuff like that, and was playing really good and getting us forward. But really, aside from that, it wasn't. I would say there was chemistry in the midfield or chemistry within the front three where they're really looking. You even look at City's attack, where they're looking for each other. They're looking at Foden's looking for Erling Haaland, De Bruyne is pulling all these types of things. It's just like, how is it that when we go forward, I'm like, okay, Rashford's running and he's running, and then he might then have a look and then see if anyone's around. Oh, no one's around. Oh, no one's going to space. Oh, is there anyone in number 9 that can anticipate a run? That's the. If we're talking about a difference, and why and why I miss Edison Cavani, and I wish we bought him years ago, was that when you saw Cavani make those runs moves, he anticipated where the ball was going to be. Marcus Rashford, as I'm like, does not do that. Okay, so many times when when either Anthony or Sancho or even Bruno want to cross the ball in or want to take a key pass, Marcus Rashford is almost like he's just waiting for the break. He can anticipate a break, but that's as far as it goes. But actually positioning in the box as to where the ball wants to be, like he's terrible at it, compared to say a Haaland, for example. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Let me just say one more thing before we wrap up there. Like I was saying, the right players have to be picked, right? The right players. Like you're just talking about Rashford there. Some of his reading of the game is not really there. So obviously Martial is a no-brainer to come in and take that role. I want to see Casemiro come in, and it's hard to be proactive because McTominay was having some good vein of form, or it was even getting to a point where it's like his what do you call it? Him being average is almost like him looking like he's great, because compared to when he's bad, we see just a big disparity in terms of his performances. But we should have seen Casemiro come in. That's my point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to articulate this one. It's very hard, but I want to see just the top players being picked that know how to get possession, because you know what I mean. Casemiro is from Real Madrid, who before Ancelotti they were doing possession play. And Modric, this guy knows how to play in the possession team. So yeah, going forward, man, I just hope we see some of the fundamentals come in, in terms of pressing, at least the pressing. You know what I mean? Maybe the possession play is not going to be as much, but I want to at least see counter press. I want to at least see the energy.
Well, you need the mentality of players to do that, and I just don't think our players have the mentality right now, unfortunately. So I don't.
4 wins in a row, so you know what I mean. We were fighting. Where's that gone? Just out the window. That's mad. And what we're gonna do without Varane right now? Hopefully it's Lindelof that comes in. Maguire, stay your ass.
No, Maguire's gonna come back in, man. This is Maguire's chance, man. Maguire.
He's injured though.
Yeah, he's injured now, but he'll be free. He'll be fit for the game against Everton, I imagine. So you can play Maguire against Everton, probably. It's fine. So, but and stuff. But yeah, we just at the end of the day, guys, we lost against the Viking, man. I thought that we would have a solution to Haaland, but the reality is that we didn't.
Bro, by the way, when we play Maguire, we're going to do low block football, innit? You can't do high press. So,
no. But the thing is, Ten Hag looks like he might still play a high press. Which is what happened against Brentford, against Thingy. Still played a high press, and we got scored. But let's see what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe to the studio. Follow us on United X. Smash the notification button, Manchester United news and more. Have a nice day, everyone, man. Depressing as it is, and cheers.
Peace.